My mom used my gold credit card for Dad's emergency treatment, but 3 days later, I saw photos of my sister at a luxury villa in Hawaii. When I asked how she paid for it, she grinned and said, "You're rich now, right?" That night, at her birthday party, she played a clip from a personal conversation and turned my words into a joke in front of everyone. I stayed quiet, but the next morning, her iCloud accidentally shared 67 files with our whole family. My mom called me at 6:42 a.m. Her voice was breathless, like she'd been running. "It's your dad," she said. "He collapsed. They're doing tests." We had to act fast. I was already standing, one sock on, one off, my heart ticking louder than the wall clock. She paused, then said the part that broke something I didn't know could break. "I used your gold card." We didn't have time. My chest tightened. "Of course," I said. "Anything he needs." I sat down on the edge of the bed, fingers cold around the phone. The gold card. My emergency-only card. No spending limit. No shared access. Just in case. But I didn't argue. I never did. Not when it came to them. That was Monday. By Thursday, my sister was in Hawaii. I knew because the photos started to pop up like mosquito bites. First, a boomerang, a champagne glass clinking beside an infinity pool. Then a shot of her in a silk robe, toes painted coral, lounging on a balcony that overlooked the sea. Villa Dreams, the caption read. Soft life. I didn't feel anger then, just a familiar ache, like realizing too late that I'd been left out of the story again. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. When I texted her, it wasn't accusatory. It wasn't even cold. "How'd you swing this?" She answered in under 10 seconds. "You're rich now, right?" That was it. No shame. No explanation. Just those 5 words and a kiss emoji like this was a private joke we both understood. I didn't reply. That night was her birthday. I still showed up. Because that's what I do. She wore a sequin jumpsuit that sparkled like foil under the club lights. Her boyfriend DJ'd the first hour. Her friends screamed every time the beat dropped. I stood by the cake table, sipping flat Prosecco and watching from the edges, like always. And then came the screen. "I have a little surprise," she said, grabbing the mic. The room stilled. A hush spread through the crowd like perfume. She played a video clip. Me. My voice. A private conversation from 2 months ago. One I barely remembered. I was tired. Raw. Talking about how I felt invisible. How I wished, just once, someone would choose me without needing something. She'd recorded it. She played it. And then she laughed. "Drama king energy," she said, and everyone laughed with her. I stood there, eyes dry, pulse calm. I didn't move. Didn't defend myself. Didn't explain. I just stayed quiet. Because I had learned long ago that silence could cut cleaner than any scream. They thought that was the end of it. They thought I'd go home and swallow it, like every other time. But the next morning, something happened. I used to let these things slide, hoping it would earn me a place. But silence had only made me invisible. Her iCloud glitched. 67 files auto-shared with every synced contact in her address book, including our mother, our aunts, our cousins, and me. Screenshots, voice memos, text drafts never sent, notes that were never meant to be seen. Every mask slipped at once. And suddenly, I wasn't the one exposed. The files weren't just embarrassing. They were damning. Seeing how they joked about me behind closed doors didn't hurt. It clarified everything I tried not to admit. Screenshots of group chats, without me in them. My mom writing, "Let's keep it small, just us," about a family reunion I'd offered to host. Voice memos from my sister, mocking my texts, my job, my voice. She had titled the folder Golden Boy Meltdowns. In one draft, she joked about training me like a credit Labrador, swipe when needed, disappear when done. I didn't know what stunned me more, that she said it or that no one had ever stopped her. By 10 a.m., the damage was done. The files synced to the shared album we all forgot existed, the one we used for Grandma's birthday slideshows. Everyone saw them. Aunt Sherry texted a single word, "Wow." Uncle Tom just replied, "Is this real?" No one defended her. No one defended me either. I didn't say anything. I made coffee, ate toast, fed the cat, and then I opened my old external hard drive, the one I hadn't touched since last year. It clicked alive like it had been waiting. Inside was every receipt, every transfer, every debt I'd forgiven. I started organizing them. 5 years ago, I paid off the balance on our parents' second mortgage. They called it a temporary setback when Dad's business faltered. Mom cried on the phone, just enough to sound sincere. I wired $42,000. No contract. No thank you. Just a photo a week later of their new living room furniture with the caption, "Fresh Start." 3 years ago, my sister called sobbing at midnight. Her tuition check had bounced. If I don't cover this by tomorrow, they'll drop me. I sent $18,000. She changed her major the next semester and never graduated. 2 years ago, they asked me to invest in Dad's new venture, a boutique fitness and wine bar. I declined. They guilt me. Mom said, "It's just money, and you have more than us." I caved. Another $25,000 gone. And just last month, the gold card. I never checked the total. Until that morning. $8,762.47. The charge description, Kona Grand Lux Villas. 5-night premium stay. Champagne arrival package included. Not a hospital. Not a treatment. Not a test. A villa. I closed the tab. My hands were shaking, but my jaw was steady. They hadn't just used me. They designed their life around my silence. It hadn't started that way. When I was younger, I believed being the reliable one meant something. I was the oldest. The problem solver. The good son. When my sister wrecked her car in high school, I was the one who showed up to the impound lot. When she failed biology, I helped write her makeup essays. When Mom said, "You're so strong," I believed it was a compliment. It wasn't. It was a transfer of weight. Every year, they handed me more of the load. And I carried it, quietly. Because someone had to. Because love, I thought, was doing what no one else would. But love is not the same as servitude. I remember one Thanksgiving, I paid for the entire dinner. Groceries. Catering. Even decorations. My sister arrived late in a designer coat, handed my mother a candle, and received a toast in her honor, to our brightest light. They called me reliable. Grounded. A rock. No one wants to toast the rock. The worst part? I never asked for repayment. I never even asked to be seen. Just not to be mocked. Just not to be erased. They couldn't even give me that. When I was 14, I overheard my mom on the phone with her sister. She said, "He's not like Sierra. He's safe. You don't have to worry about him." Safe. That was the word they built their life on. They knew I wouldn't retaliate. They knew I wouldn't raise my voice, wouldn't storm out, wouldn't cut them off. I was the safety net. Until I wasn't. Because that morning, as the text flooded in, as silence took root in the family chat, something clicked. I wasn't angry. I was done. It's strange how calm clarity can feel. Letting go wasn't a decision. It was an awakening. That's when I called my lawyer. My lawyer's name is Devin Hart. We met 5 years ago when I helped him with a pitch deck for his startup. He owed me a favor. I called it in. "I need to trace a pattern," I said. "Family. Financial. Possibly fraud." He didn't even hesitate. "Send me everything." I did. Bank statements, credit reports, text transcripts, even old email threads I had archived and forgotten. Devin combed through them like a surgeon. 2 days later, he called me back. "It's worse than you think." He found joint account activity I never authorized. A credit line opened in my name, closed quietly 6 months later. A forged signature. My signature. For a loan I never took. The handwriting matched a card my sister once wrote me. We had it verified. He paused, then said quietly, "This crosses a line." We filed a request with the credit bureau and flagged the incidents. He drafted a letter. Then he asked a question I hadn't let myself voice. "Do you want to press charges?" I didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, I drove to the storage unit I'd rented last winter. I kept everything there. Hard copies. Folders. Receipts. Even the card from my sister's fake graduation party. Signed, "You saved me." I opened the box. At the bottom was a flash drive. One I didn't remember packing. Inside, a recording. A full voicemail from my mother. Left by accident 2 years ago. She was talking to someone, probably my aunt. Her voice was flat. Cold. "Honestly, we don't include him in everything. He's got his own life. He's better off just helping. He doesn't need connection the way Sierra does." I played it again. "He doesn't need connection." She didn't whisper it. She believed it. I sent the file to Devin. We met the next morning at a downtown office, 1 block from the notary's. "I've got something for you," he said. He handed me a thick envelope. Inside were certified copies of every transfer, a timeline of financial activity, and an affidavit from a handwriting expert confirming the forgery. At the bottom, a formal petition for repayment, itemized, signed, notarized. I didn't flinch. I signed it. That signature wasn't about money. It was the first time I chose myself without guilt. I'm serving this personally, I said. He looked up. You sure? They left me out of the picture, I said. Now I'll remind them who paid for the pin. That night, I waited. My sister had posted a new photo. Her on a beach again, this time in Tulum. Caption, Healers and Sunsets. Soft season continues. I messaged her, we need to talk. She responded instantly. No. I'll come to you. She sent the villa address. I arrived with a courier envelope and nothing else. She opened the door in a linen robe, half amused, half annoyed. You really came all the way here to lecture me? I didn't answer. I handed her the envelope. She opened it, scanned the first page. Her face shifted, first confusion, then fear, then anger. What is this? Proof, I said. Of everything. You're threatening me? No, I said quietly. I'm telling you, this time, I'm not disappearing. Behind her, I saw a stack of shopping bags. Tags still on. A new watch on her wrist. She was living in the ruins of what I built for them, and she didn't even know it was crumbling. She stepped closer, her voice sharp. You wouldn't really go through with this. I already have. The next day, my lawyer emailed the full file to her, to my parents, and to the family group chat. By noon, 3 numbers had blocked me. One called me. It was Dad. He didn't sound angry. He sounded scared. We didn't mean harm, he said. It just snowballed. I know, I said. Snowballs still crush things when they roll long enough. He asked if there was still time to fix it privately. There was, I said. That time ended at the villa. They tried to stall. My parents, my sister, all of them. The moment Devin served the formal complaint, their tone flipped like a coin. Gone was the dismissive smirk in my sister's voice, the condescension in Dad's emails. Now it was panic wrapped in sugar. Let's sit down and talk, my mom wrote. This doesn't have to get ugly. Ugly? You used my trust and finances without consent. All I did was wake up. The legal process began quietly but moved fast. Devin had pulled every thread until the whole thing unraveled. The forged loan, $15,000, opened during the pandemic. The villa charge, falsely listed under health expense. 2 years of tax write-offs they'd claimed under my name. It wasn't just unethical. It was criminal. And now it was official. I filed a civil suit for $96,000 in damages. They had 30 days to respond. They lasted 4. On day 5, I received an email from a new lawyer, not theirs, mine. Devin forwarded the settlement proposal. It was desperate and full of legal jargon that translated to one simple thing. Don't take this public. They offered repayment, of course. But that wasn't enough. I wanted the truth. So I rejected it. Devin revised the claim. Full restitution, legal fees, and one notarized statement from each of them, admitting to the misuse of funds and deliberate exclusion. I wanted it on record. No denials. No future revisionism. They tried again. More money. A sealed agreement. I refused. This time, I didn't want silence. I wanted acknowledgement. Because for years, they fed off my quiet. Every Thanksgiving, I showed up with gifts and groceries while they gave me leftover attention. Every birthday, I wired money while they forgot the date. I was the scaffolding for their lives, invisible, solid, and ignored. But scaffolding eventually comes down. And when it does, the whole facade crumbles. On day 12, their lawyer called Devin and asked, what will it take to make him stop? Devin said I didn't want revenge. I wanted balance. He was wrong. I wanted them to understand the weight they'd placed on me for years. And they did. That week, the court froze their joint investment account, the same one my sister had used to fund her healing retreats. A lien was placed on my parents' second home. Their credit scores dropped 140 points. A background check for a business partnership my father had in motion flagged the civil suit. His partner backed out. They stopped trying to negotiate. They started to beg. Sierra sent me a voice message. For minutes long. She cried halfway through. I didn't know it got that bad. I was just trying to survive. She was poolside in Maui when she said that. I didn't reply. Mom left a voicemail. The kind that tries to sound motherly but collapses under its own weight. We've always loved you. Things got messy, yes, but families go through things. Please don't destroy everything. Everything. They never saw me as part of that word. Just a utility. A fallback. A wallet with a heartbeat. I forwarded the message to Devin. He added it to the case file. Then came the final blow. I uploaded the evidence, every screenshot, every forged signature, every transaction to a private server. I created a folder named For Context and shared it with 8 people. Cousins. Aunts. One former family friend who'd once called me the Shadow One. I didn't include any commentary, just the facts. I watched the read receipts light up one by one. By the next morning, the group chat had imploded, and Sherry left it. My cousin Miles changed the name from Fam Bam to someone removed Sierra, then added her back, then removed her again. I stayed silent. The following week, Devin called me. They're ready to settle. Everything you asked, no conditions. Even the written statements? They already sent drafts. I opened the files. Each was about a page long. Dry, formulaic, but signed, stamped, and final. They admitted to misusing my funds. Confirmed the forged documents. Confirmed I was excluded from decisions involving money I had provided. At the bottom of my sister's page, in handwriting, her real one, she wrote, "I didn't think you'd ever fight back." I didn't write anything in return. The next morning, the settlement payment cleared. I stared at the number, not with satisfaction, but with quiet disbelief, proof that what happened finally had weight. $96,000. I didn't touch it. I opened a new account at a credit union under a name variation, first name, middle initial. No one had access but me. Then I made a final visit. Not to their house. The place had never felt like home. I went to the notary's office with Devin. We submitted a copy of the signed statements for permanent archive. They'll stay here forever, the clerk said, sealing the folder. Good, I thought. Some truths deserve paper. After the settlement funds landed in my account, I did 3 things. I closed every joint financial account tied to my name. I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. I legally changed my mailing address and set up digital alerts for all transactions. Devin confirmed. The civil case was resolved. The terms were binding. No appeals. No renegotiation. In exchange for dropping criminal pursuit, I received $96,000 in full restitution, coverage of legal fees, 3 signed, notarized statements admitting financial abuse, document forgery, and coordinated exclusion. The document from my sister included a final line in handwriting. "I didn't think you'd go this far." That was the point. I didn't want revenge. I wanted boundaries. Enforced once. And they held. The villa charge was refunded by the bank and flagged. My sister's card was temporarily frozen. She lost access to her travel rewards account. Minor consequence, but it mattered to her. Dad's secondary business lost a partnership due to the lawsuit's visibility. One of his investor background checks turned up the filing. He tried to spin it. They walked. My mother's reputation in her charity circle took a hit. I didn't push that. But I also didn't correct the rumors. They stopped messaging me after week 6. The group chat stayed silent. Eventually, I left it. Devin suggested I move assets to a new account with limited family traceability. I did. Then I took a short leave from work. No dramatic resignation. No social media statements. Just space. I relocated temporarily to a quiet town. Not to disappear, to reset. For the first time in years, I wasn't someone's fixer, financier, or fallback. I had no favors to manage, no emergencies to absorb. I bought groceries without calculating what someone else needed. I slept through the night. I stopped checking my phone after dinner. That, more than anything, was the clearest win. After 2 months, I began to rebuild. Not a new life, just one I owned fully. I started helping at a local bookshop. I offered to digitize their inventory. 3 mornings a week turned into something steadier. No titles. No pressure. Just tasks. Clean. Finite. Mine. One day, I opened an old email draft titled "For When They Notice." It had links to every transfer I ever made for them. Screenshots. Dates. Context. I deleted it. They would never need that file. Because now, even if they did notice, I didn't care. My father sent one final message 3 months after settlement. "I know it's too late, but we see it now. You gave more than we ever asked for, and we kept asking anyway. I don't expect forgiveness. Just wanted to say it." I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty. Just clarity. I wasn't angry anymore. I was finished. My sister tried to call. Once. No voicemail. I blocked the number. There was nothing left to explain. She shared a private clip of mine. Everyone laughed. Played a recording of my private confession. Then used my money to fly to a luxury villa and laugh about it online. That doesn't get reversed with time. That gets remembered. I went back through the photos she'd posted from Hawaii. One image stood out, her on a balcony, smiling at the ocean. That villa was booked with my card. That robe she wore? I paid for it. That champagne tray? Mine. That photo captured more than a moment. It held the truth. And I had the receipts. Now I had something else too, space. No calls. No debt. No vague guilt. I moved back to the city 6 months later. Quietly. I didn't tell anyone except Devin and two close friends. I signed a lease under my full name. Got a place with a window that faced east. I furnished it slow, deliberately. Nothing borrowed. Nothing compromised. I built a life with no backdoor access for people who only remembered me when things broke. I no longer send gifts to their birthdays. I don't visit for the holidays. I didn't send a thank you when my mother mailed a framed photo from years ago, one where I was cropped out slightly, standing at the edge of the group. They never forgot me. They just never made space for me. Now I made my own. For once, I wasn't asking to belong. I was choosing not to shrink. And this time, no one else holds the key.